Welcome to the Skin Deep podcast, where we are your go-to source for everything skin health and self-care, especially when it comes to eczema and dermatitis. I'm your host, Mekisha Banks. Today's episode is really just to understand what the Skin Deep podcast is about, what's our purpose, and really what are we here to help you with. I am a person that has had eczema for my entire life. It is my story, the reason why I started my company, but just really because I was sick and tired of purchasing, prescriptions, the traditional medicinals that we're used to. And it's just strictly because I felt like it wasn't going anywhere. It was like this repetitive cycle of me purchasing, this medication over and over again. And I just felt like I was going nowhere with it. So it was after some time that I decided that it's time to make a change. It's time to do something different. There has to be another solution as to my skin concerns. And unfortunately, I wasn't really finding it everywhere, out in the industry. I wasn't finding it in the stores. The typical things that I was using, and I won't name any names right now, it wasn't really giving me the solution. It was very temporary. I would put it on my skin, and then all of a sudden I would feel like my skin is dry all over again. My skin was really itchy again. And if people that have eczema, they can all relate to the same kind of issue, is that we're using products, it feels great in the moment, but then it kind of dies away and it doesn't feel good after some time, or you have to keep reapplying it 50 million times to still achieve that feel in your skin that's relieved and it feels protected or it feels hydrated. So, having eczema from when I was a child, it was a mission for me to just find a solution for my own hands or my own body. I used to get it a lot in the inside of my elbows, the back of my legs, on my upper lip actually. I got it on my hands. I used to get it on my chest. It was everywhere. You might as well just say that I was covered from head to toe because every point of my body I had it, even the back of my neck. And I never used to be able to wear necklaces, and now I'm just like, wow, I can wear necklaces and I can choose different necklaces that I wanted to wear and not feel too worried about it. So the whole purpose of me, one, creating this podcast, but two, starting my own company, was really just because I was trying to fix my own skin. I really just wanted to find a solution that was good for me, and then eventually it kind of grew into something bigger. It grew into, other people looking at my products and using it and saying that their skin feels great. And, unfortunately, sometimes the difficult thing that I had is, a lot of clients would not give me a lot of their pre and post pictures or their before and afters because they were so much in a rush. They would put the products on and they're like, oh, my skin's fine now. And I'm like, ah. So, it's kind of interesting because I really would love to have a lot of product pictures so people could see it. But the best part is that people were using it and they were getting the results that ideally I wanted people to have, especially for myself. I wanted the same thing. So, while I was 13 years old, I was just looking into different ingredients and essential oils and butters and all of these different things that I could use on my skin, because all of the lotions or the body butters at that time, they weren't doing anything. They were fragrant, they were thin, they were water-based, and when I put them on, I would always find myself mixing it with something else to make it thicker, or to make it last longer, or to make it more hydrating, or to smell different. So I just felt like it's time for me to make my own stuff. So it took some time, researching it, but it was what kick-started me, or was the catalyst for me to get into the skin industry. And it's because I realized that I had a passion for it. I really more so had a passion for like photography and, technology and website design and so forth. But somewhere while I was trying to figure out my skin condition and what was going on with it, I felt like I was really more so drawn towards being in the skin industry or the beauty industry. So, after, some time, it started growing further and further into a passion, from nails to hair to makeup to skin, and really diving more into skin to the point where I took extra classes at college just so that I could really understand more about skin. So I advanced into the medical skincare industry, and that really opened my eyes to a much deeper world in terms of going beyond just the surface level of fixing skin or treating skin, but going into much deeper layers of the skin, but using other technologies to do so. Because yes, products can do so much, ingredients and natural resources can do so much, but as well, other technologies such as machines can do a little bit more for the skin than what we're kind of used to. And now it's a lot more popular in the beauty industry than it was, say, 15 years ago. Don't get me wrong, the most we had was a jojoba bead exfoliator. Now we have so many different amplitudes of, chemicals that we can use on the skin that really could help us. But what I found is that I needed to know more about eczema. I really wanted to see more about eczema and learn more, because the more I was getting exposed to different customer skins, the more I realized a lot of people are suffering from eczema. And what was making that very interesting connection was everyone was using the same topical product on their skin. And I was realizing that it was no longer good. It was just like irritating me at some point. It was to the point where I would put it on and it wasn't working. Instead, it actually irritated my skin. So that's where it's like, okay, well, I'm seeing so many other people with this skin concern, so many of people that look like myself that are African American or even different cultures and so forth and ethnicities, but no one is getting the resolution. It was just, I need to get another one. I need a refill. I need a refill. I need a refill. And that's when I said, nah, there's something really wrong here. I really need to get deeper into this and go more. And don't get me wrong, there was a bit of like a self-sabotage moment, because I felt like, who am I? Who am I to figure this out? Who am I to, crack the code on the eczema issue? I must not be able to figure this out. But it did. It did after a while, because I realized all these different things that I was doing in my personal life was making my skin feel better, was making my skin feel different. It was making my overall mental health different, because skin issues normally trigger mental issues as well. So it's just really interesting that after some time of being in denial, still working as a medical esthetician, I even was working as an educator at a college for medical aesthetics, hairstyling, nails, beauty, pretty much everything and then some, just not Botox and fillers. It was just like, I felt like there was a bigger purpose that I had versus just educating on the surface level of beauty. It was really getting deeper into it and showing people other alternatives than just what we normally are told. And because of my personal life, I was very active. I was very athletic. I was always, working out. I was always doing meditation. I was really getting deep into that. And I was also really into like food and nutrition and just really self-care. So I always had this weekly self-care ritual where I would, decompress. I would eat. I would go to a yoga studio, do hot yoga. I had a very consistent, ritual of taking care of myself. And I knew that was a norm. I felt like that was something that people should all have. But again, unfortunately, it wasn't very much the norm. It was very much go, go, go. If you're a yoga enthusiast, that's all you did, but you didn't really think of it as a healthcare practice. You just felt like that was a better way for you to work out. If someone's a nutritionist, they just love eating great food. If someone works out, they just like to work out, but there wasn't very much this overall connective tissue where people understood that it's a self-care ritual that they're kind of taking part in. They just look at it as like whatever. So, when I started talking about self-care and what you should do on a weekly basis, there was a lot of kickback. A lot of people that were like, nah, that doesn't even make any sense. No one has time for this. No, da, 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 da. And it just felt discouraging to talk about it, especially when I was on the verge of wanting to launch my company, Everbella. A lot of people weren't really resonating with the idea of self-care, or, meditation or yoga and even tarot or, just overall spirituality. There was a lot of kickback. So I didn't care. I still kind of launched my brand based on those principles that I had about, treating your skin and taking care of your skin. It's just the byproduct was eczema. The byproduct was sensitive skin. So it's like you would use it knowing it's helping your skin, but it wasn't that direct kind of conversation of saying this is specifically going to help you with your skin conditions. And again, because of legalities, you can't really talk about that because we know the pharmaceutical industry doesn't necessarily take too kindly when people are saying you could treat something and not have as much proof to back it up. But again, don't worry. That's just the way it is in certain things when it comes to being politically correct, if you want to call it. So nonetheless, the whole point, like I said, of Everbella and why we're talking about the skin deep and why it really made me want to call it skin deep is because we're going beyond just products. I've never told anyone that our products are the one solution to treat your skin conditions, because it's not. There is multiple other areas of your life that you have to think about in order to fix your skin conditions. And that's what's super important to me about talking to people about their skin, or when I have a consultation about them, about their skin, is what are they doing? What is everything that's in your repertoire of daily activities? What are you doing? What are you eating? What are you thinking? How do you start your day? What is your overall routine for your skin? What do you do on a weekly basis to kind of decompress yourself? Because all of those things actually make a difference to what happens on your skin. We don't really think about that direct correlation now, maybe a little bit more than we did before, but it's very, very, very important that we look at all these other things. So the whole point of Everbella's product line is to, one, treat your different skin conditions by incorporating or creating a self-care ritual using our products. But the Skin Deep podcast is for us to talk to so many other industry professionals that believe in the same morals, have the same overall focus of helping people from the core root and helping them understand what those root causes are to help them with their overall skin. Because what you do on the inside shows up on the outside, and what you do on the outside affects what happens on the inside. So it's a very much harmonious, intertwined, interconnected system that we want to almost crack the code, as they call biohacking, but I almost call it bioskin. New word, bioskinning. And that's because we need to get to the bottom of this. The world needs to get to the bottom of this. I have so much stats, so much research of what's happening around the world that, we don't get to really understand how we can fix skin. So, yes, I welcome you to the show. I'm so happy that you're here. I hope you enjoy every piece of content that we have to give to you. And today I would like to get started with the first topic. And the first topic is one of the most heaviest topic that is not discussed, but is almost kind of glazed over. But if we actually understand this topic, then it's easier for us to fix our skin conditions or our skin concerns. So again, our main topic is eczema, but I will touch on other skin conditions or skin concerns because it all has to do with each other. But eczema really hits home to me. It's really my passion, and I definitely want to make sure that I continue to build this awareness of eczema, and not talking about the negative side of it, but talking about solutions, because solutions is what we need versus continuously talking about the negative issues or the negativity of eczema, because all we're doing is talking about more negativity. So today we're talking about the stages of eczema. There are stages to identify in order to know where you are on your skincare journey to fix your skin condition. So let's go over these 4 stages. Stage 1, let's talk about it. The stage 1, I call it the itchy and scratchy show. The itchy and scratchy show. And it is because that's what's happening. We are burning, we're itching, we're irritated. It's red, it's inflamed. This is the stage that everyone hates because we're like, what the flip? What is going on? Why is my skin, going bonkers? It is because the itchy scratchy show, as I call it, the first stage of eczema, is because your skin is either in contact with something that irritated it, or you ingested something that made your skin become irritated. So again, a lot of people pretty much know this stage. It's because, we're irritated, we're itching, and, we have a flare up. So, when we think of that first stage, you need to figure out what toxins did you come in contact with that caused an inflammation spike on your skin. So I like to look at it from the outside and the inside. From the outside, it could be your dishwasher soap. It could be your hand soap. It could be your detergents that you use on your clothes. It could also be your skincare products. A lot of people don't realize that the amount of cosmetics that we put on our skin or even on our body, nowadays they have such a high potency of active ingredients in them that they start to break down your skin barrier. So for example, I've been doing medical stuff for a very long time. I've been a nail technician for a very long time. And unfortunately, it kind of beat down my overall skin barrier on my hands. And because of that, my hands get a lot more irritation. It gets those flare-ups and so forth. So that's why you have to be very mindful of what your hands have come in contact with, because otherwise, if you don't, you're constantly, slowly, little by little, breaking down your skin barrier. And that skin barrier literally protects you from all of the outside elements. So you really want to make sure that you are either wearing gloves when you're doing treatments, wearing gloves when you're washing your clothes or washing dishes, wearing gloves when you're cleaning up your house, wearing gloves in any activities where you're going to be using a cleaning or cleansing product. Okay? So that's a number one thing that people don't really pay attention to. And unfortunately, because our products are becoming a lot more chemically laden with harsh chemicals, it's actually more likely for people to have hand eczema now than they did before. Because before we never really had heavy chemicals. We had very simple chemicals. Now they're so crazy formulated that it's like you don't even know what the heck you're putting on your hands, and it says hand safe, but it's really the worst. Okay, so that's one thing. The next thing is internally. It's something that we're all kind of fixing right now, and I find people that suffer from IBS or SIBO, they are the ones that are going to have a lot of skin issues, and it's because your overall intestinal lining has broken down so much that your body has inflammation in there. So that could be from eating certain foods that are very inflammatory. Those could be certain beans, certain lentils. It could be, not even could be. It is sugar. That's like your number one culprit is sugar or carbohydrates. And it's strictly because they blow up your system. When they start to break down your overall body lining, your intestinal lining, you have inflammation. And when your body is constantly inflamed, it shows up onto your skin. So the reason why, when I look at that one there, why it's the worst, where it kind of kicked off my eczema, is because I ate a lot of sugar when I was young. Sugar was my best friend. I loved cotton candy, as you can think. Like, cotton candy and me were like besties. Okay. And it's really bad. And it's because that's what caused me to have eczema. But everyone would say, oh no, it's the allergies. It is, being environmentally allergic to grass, trees, bushes. Hey, oh, it's your asthma. No, it's because I was eating tons and piles of sugar that no one really thought I should kind of cut down and tell me that. My parents did, but I didn't. So that's one thing. So that's the stage one, the itchy, scratchy show. Okay, so you got to double check literally what is causing you to have inflammation, whether it's external or internal, and start to kind of think of, how do I get rid of them? How do I minimize them? How do I reduce this inflammation triggers that I have? Okay. Step two, okay, where you are For example, almost like wet. It's like the weeping willow. Okay. I know I have weird names for it, but it's easier for me to kind of remember them. The weeping willow. Okay. This is where you're weeping toxins. So you'll see sometimes if it's on your hands, you'll have little tiny bubbles. Okay. Little tiny bubbles on there. That's where you are exuding toxins, or it's on your hand, on your arms, on your legs. It's wet. It's like exuding wet kind of sebum from it, or exuding wet kind of toxins from it. This is because your body's detoxifying. Your body's like, we got to get rid of this now. We need to get it out of the system. We recognize it's time to heal it. This stage, again, is annoying as it may be, but it's the most critical stage because this is where it's getting rid of toxins. It's getting rid of things out of your skin in order for it to fast track into the healing stage. So if you find that you're in stage one, stage two, stage one, stage two, stage one, stage two, like over and over and over again, it's because you're constantly putting yourself in contact with inflammation or things that cause you to have inflammation. So you need to really take it down a notch. Assess your foods. Assess what you're using at home. Assess what is going on around you. So then that way, when you get into the weeping stage, it goes into the next stage, which is the dry, cracky stage. Okay? The dry and cracky stage. All right? So this stage is I look for this stage because I know when I'm at the dry, cracky stage, it is healed. Like it's relatively, I would say 80 to 90% healed because it's brown. It's very dry. You're going to see flaking or starting to come up. Like you might see like callus, like it looks like callus, but it's like build up of dead skin cells. And it's very uneven texture and it just looks really bad, unfortunately. So it looks like very discolored on any areas of the body, but it's the best thing. And the reason why is because you know you're going into the healing stage. So when you're in this dry, cracky stage, these are my go-to things that you need to do. One, you need to be using butters, like body butters that are thick and oil-based. Using oils that are more natural, that don't have fragrances or don't have things that are going to irritate your skin. And the reason why you want to have these two items is because they will create a humectant, meaning a barrier over the skin. When you create that barrier over the skin, no free radicals, no detergents, no irritants, none of that can penetrate into your skin. And that's crucial because if you're going through this repairing dry, cracky stage, the last thing you need is to expose yourself again to things that are going to irritate your skin and bring you back to stage one. Okay. And this is what I find a lot of people have this issue. They're like, Mekisha, I thought my skin was healing, but all of a sudden it's flared up again. It's because you got excited. You're like, oh my God, my skin's looking great. No problems, nothing. And then all of a sudden you're like, I think I can eat the sugary treat again. You don't eat like a little couple slice. Like you eat like the half the cake. Then all of a sudden, inflammation spikes, right? Or same idea. You're like, oh, my skin's feeling much better now. I can go ahead and wash my dishes without wearing my gloves. Oh, I don't feel like wearing my gloves today. Then you got that trigger again. So it's such a crucial point that when you're in stage 3, you maintain the discipline. You maintain the discipline that you've been building up, because if you don't, you're going to go right back to where you started. So it's very important that you take a look at this stage and get excited for where you are, but maintain what you're doing in order for your skin to feel better and get back to the new stage of where it's going to be in the terms of healed and revealed stage. Okay, so stage 4 is the reveal and the glowing stage. And the reveal and the glowing stage is like you're flaking now. So you look a little bit, deserty. It's very much like flaking everywhere. You're like, what the heck? I have like little chips on my skin and everything. This is good. We like this stage. And the reason why is because right underneath it, it's the new skin. It's the sexy skin. So what I like to do on this stage is I like to every couple of days or once a week, just depending on the area that we're treating, I like to do an exfoliation. And when I exfoliate, I like to use Dead Sea salt or Himalayan salt scrubs because they're one, much better for the skin. They lower the pH level. They also have calcium and magnesium deposits in there. So it really helps boost the skin in terms of creating new skin cells. So that's where I would do, it's like I would exfoliate my hands or exfoliate the areas that I see that dry flakiness happening. And then right when I finish taking my exfoliation, you're going to feel a little bit tender. Your body's going to feel a little bit, red and or irritated, but that's okay. It's just because we got rid of the dead skin. So now we want to protect the skin with like a butter and that oil. Now, my trick to this part is even though the butter and the oil is great because it's nice and thick, you still might feel a little bit cracky. So you might feel a little bit like dry. So I like to either mix the butter and the oil with a little bit of a lotion. And the reason why is because the lotion has that water content in there to kind of go into the skin, hydrate the skin, and the oil and the butter will create that protection layer over the skin. So then that way you're going to get that overall pliability, like you'll feel like you can stretch, you can move, you don't feel stiff and so forth. So that's where I would find using that method repetitively will allow my skin to go into the fourth stage and continue staying in the stage between 3 to 4, 3 to 4, 3 to 4, where there's no more shedding and no more repairing, and all you have is amazing, great glowing skin. Okay, so those are my 4 stages of eczema. And you can have other in between stages. Some areas might be in stage 1, some areas might be stage 2 or whatever. You just got to really pay attention to that and be very mindful of what's happening around you. What are you doing? What are you using? What are you eating? Because those things play a very crucial part in terms of what stage you are at and how smoothly and how quickly you can get to the next stage. Okay, so I'm excited to really dive deep into skin, concerns that you have or repairing your skin, helping you with your skin, and really just opening the doors, like opening the box of like these hidden knowledge of how to fix skin without literally spending so much money. Because we can do this from home. We can do this in our own, daily routines in order to fix our skin. So I'm excited to go through this. This is such an exciting journey for me, even for Everbella, to help everyone get onto that track of having great skin. I hope these 4 stages really allow you to see and understand what stage you're in and how to get to that next stage. But please look forward to our next our next episodes, because every episode we're really going to dive deep into how to fix your skin, how to help you with your skin, what self-care methods you could do, what skincare treatments are out there that you could do, so then that way we get you on the right track. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Mekisha, your host of Skin Deep Podcast by Everbella. You are always welcome to find me on TikTok, Instagram at Mekisha Banks or Everbella. And as always, your guide to skin health.